Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. I'm your co-host Ashton here with my awesome co-host Zach. It is prime time. The Rams will be on Thursday night football in a few days here. How are you feeling about it, Zach? We're here to talk about some 49ers. Niners week.
Hey, coming out. We're recording on Monday, Victory Monday. No better day to
Hmm.
start, finishing up a good week. Now moving on to a short week, but hopefully, a very impactful week for the Rams. Division can be on the line this week.
Yeah, I definitely want to start off your divisional record 1-0. Definitely helps out. Now we are going against 3-1 49ers coming off of a, let's say, kind of brutal loss to Jaguars. It was not a pretty game. I had that game on in the background and was watching it relatively with, especially in third and fourth quarter, with some interest. And it was, you know, you got to give credit to this 49ers team. They have been through a lot these first 4 weeks, a lot of up and downs when it comes to injuries. And they just found ways, even though not some of the best competition they've been facing, they found ways to win games going into week 4. And you can kind of see everything was starting to catch up with them. They had Brock Purdy play his first game of the year. And I don't remember if he played week 1 or not, Zach.
Yeah, yeah,
You did?
he did.
Okay. So he played second game of the year for him. And you could just tell like things weren't gelling completely. Some of that can be the injuries that they're dealing with on O line. But eh, we're going to go through this injury report, Zach, and it is a thick one for 49ers. So they're going to have to dig deep if they want to win this game. We're dealing with our own issues, but it's nowhere near to the same level as them. So, Brock Purdy is also a DMP for Monday, so who knows if he'll be ready to play, and it might be Mac Jones' time.
Wouldn't that be something? I mean, the Rams have been, or the 49ers, out of all the injuries that they've had this season, they're still 3-1, which is kind of
Super impressive.
miraculous. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to give them credit. Not having your starter QB for 2 games, losing out on George Kittle, recently losing out to Nick Bosa, not having Brandon Ayuk. You're missing weapons. You're missing offensive linemen, but they're still 3-1. They're still pulling out these wins. Against, I would say, like, not completely terrible teams. They won against the Seahawks, which the Seahawks, they're 3-1 as well. They're looking pretty good. They won against the Saints. Saints is not a very good team.
Saints,
But then they
Saints
also
are
won against the
not
Cardinals.
great.
And the Cardinals also don't look great, but they barely snuck in a win there.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like you have to put everything together, and on all three phases, you can say they're well executing considering the circumstances. And looking through this roster, like you still have a lot of good playmakers. You have arguably the best linebacker in football, and then losing Nick Bosa last week, that's going to really hurt because he was having a really good year. So Zach, let you want to go ahead and go through the injury report.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from the Rams' perspective,
Hmm.
where did it go? We only have 4 players on our injury report list. Havenstein, he's designated with an ankle injury but did not participate. Some of these I think maybe just more rest days. Same with Tyler Higbee. He's also having his designation is hip. Steve Avila, he was a full participant, though I did just see that Sean McVay has not confirmed if he will play against Avila or play with Avila going into Thursday night football. Um, he didn't give a definitive answer. It's going to be a we'll see for Thursday night football. So you're looking at that. Colby Parkinson, but he was full participant. Cam Kitchen's shoulder, he was limited today. So nothing super drastic. But then you look at the San Francisco 49ers, and man, oh man, they have 12 people listed. And that's not even including, the players that they already have on injured reserve. I mean, this doesn't include
Yeah.
Kittle or Brandon
Bosa
or Nick Bosa or any of those guys. Purdy's right now dealing with a toe injury, a continuing toe injury. So we'll see how he is. He's considered day to day.
It sounds very much that Ricky Parasol, which has had a really good year, that same wide receiver that got shot last off season, and started to come on a little bit latter half of last year, and this year has done pretty good, especially given the fact that he's getting all the attention. And it kind of sucks to see that he is down with a knee injury for him. They also are missing Jordan Watkins, another wide receiver, and Juwan Jennings also has a DNP. So they have 3 wide receivers, Zach, that are kind of right now questionable for the game. It doesn't sound like any of them will be able to go. I don't believe Ayuk is back either. So you might have Demarcus Robinson as the 49ers wide receiver 1.
Yikes. Yikes for them. The 49ers play so well against the Rams that it's going to be really hard to figure how we're going to make this team, because again, the Rams, as much as they should dominate this game, it's always going to be what scheme are they going to do to kind of hold us up. They're really good. Shanahan, he knows McVay really well. They beat us a number of times. But I don't know if the 49ers can recover from this kind of injury, especially with our defense playing really well. The one thing that I will say that's going for the 49ers is their defense is still playing really well. I mean, they are currently 6th for points against, only averaging 18.8 points. Their opponents are only getting an average of 18 points per game. So, that's really good. Their passing yards, they're still 2nd, averaging 280 per game. So they're dominated in those. Rushing yards, even having Christian McCaffrey still active, they're running 28th. With 88 yards. And our run defense has been pretty elite going up against Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor.
So in fairness to the CMC point, they're doing a lot of screens. They're doing a lot of quick passes. CMC, I believe, has more receiving yards than like most of their receiving core right now. So you gotta kind of put that in context. Like their starting wide receiver is going to be Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, Demarcus Robinson, and MVS are going to be kind of the 4 big ones. You imagine Demarcus is probably going to. Him or MVS are going to be like the focus of the offense, at least passing. And then the question is, can we shut down CMC offensively?
Yeah, I mean, looking at CMC right now, he only has 225 yards going into week 5, but his passing game is where he's really shined. 31 receptions for 305 yards total. He has the most receptions on the 49ers team.
Yeah.
So, definitely think that he's going to be utilized a lot more ways than just one, which does wear down a player. I mean, we've talked about, how much, consistently using Kyren Williams kind of tends to, be a problem towards the later half of the season, even sometimes later half in a game. Putting so much pressure on Christian McCaffrey, who, has had a lingering injury himself over the last couple seasons, and making him be the workhorse, not only in the carry game, 4 games, 69 yards, but also 4 games and 31, receptions. That's a lot to put on one offensive weapon.
Yeah, I very much see this game as like, can we stop the downhill running? Can we stop the quick screen game? I think this is going to hinge at least the 49ers offense, how successful they can be. Can we kind of, and we've been good so far this year, stopping those kind of swing pass plays, those quick slip screens. You're going to see a lot of that to kind of help mitigate the fact that they can't throw deep. Just because they, like, MVS is your only deep option. And, I don't think MVS is a terrible player, but is he a great option considering the fact that your O line is also dealing with injuries?
Yeah.
So, and like Trent Williams also had a slow start to the season. He was playing bad the first week or two. He's gotten a lot better recently, but can he hold up against Jared Verse? That's another question that we will see pretty quickly, I think, in that game. And they are typically a team when they play against us, they like to get a lead and play a certain way. And they have always struggled whenever the script is controlled by us. Now, the question is offensively, can we get to that point of controlling the game flow? Zach, do you want to talk a little bit more about the defensive injuries on the IR list?
Yeah, we definitely can. I got to pull that back up again. Missing Nick Bosa is really going to be a big focal point because again, like right now
Yeah.
going into through week 4, the 49ers only have 5 sacks. 2 of those came from Nick Bosa himself. So, it's, you know, missing those key pieces both on the offensive side and the defensive side are really going to put this down a little bit. When you look at it, my screen is super small. But on the defensive side, you have Robert Beal. He was a defensive end. He's dealing with an ankle injury. Gross Matos, he is also did not participate with a knee injury. Defensive tackle CJ West, also with a thumb injury, did not participate. And then you also have Renardo Green, the
You have a
quarterback. He's also
few
limited with the
woundeds
neck.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mikael Williams, D. Winters. So,
it's just first day. So we
yeah,
could see a lot of this could change over the next 2 days, but it's a lot that's on this list, not including who's already on the IR list.
yeah, that's kind of rough, but like you said, they have been playing pretty good ball. Not the best competition, but also not the worst. Saints are a feisty team. I wouldn't say they're a good team, but uh, the question is offensively, I would say with the Rams is, can we start off hot? Can we maintain and not shoot ourselves in the foot?
Yeah.
And I think it would be really nice to see Avila back at the left guard spot. I thought Didic did a slightly better job than week 3. It wasn't exactly like 0 grade level bad, but it's still, it's not to the level we've kind of become used to with Avila.
Yeah, for sure. Um, the Rams have to get hot. I mean, they're the healthier team of this. This should be a win that the Rams get hands down. They have the better quarterback. They have the better wide receivers. They have, arguably, maybe not as explosive running back as Christian McCaffrey, but when that's the only offensive weapon you have, puts like I said, a lot of pressure on him. So I think we'll have the better uphill battle when it comes to the passing and the run game. The question is, can we get in the end zone? Can we finish a drive
Yeah.
and sustain that early on and throughout the game? I don't really care if we score 1 or 2 field goals in this, but we cannot get to the Eagles game where we were just keeping our lead with field goals. We need to be able to get a few touchdowns to start off with. And then, if we need to hit a couple field goals towards the end, that's fine. But I don't want that to be our main focal point. There's no reason why we should try to kick 6 field goals in a game. We need to get when we get in the red zone, we need to score those touchdowns.
Yeah, this is not a game you want to get in a like defensive grind against a team that you just know offensively we should be better than, right?
Yeah.
We have said the 49ers defense is good, but our defense is elite and our offense has shown the ability at times to be elite. And if we can put all three phases together and not have hiccups, I feel like this could be one of those statement games the team could have all coming out and everyone executing at a high level without those silly mistakes that we kind of saw last week and needed a little bit of help from a certain Colts player to win. Uh,
Yeah. So for what is it, Stockton slap? Yeah, I agree. McVay needs to utilize his weapons more. We need to figure out ways to bring people into it. Don't get so run happy. Don't get so pass happy. I like the parity that mixing the running and the game in. I like being able to bring Kyron Williams in and Blake Corum in during the same drive. I want to see a little bit more different packages. Do some more jet sweeps with Puka. Get the ball down the field with Tutu. Let's see what Whittington has. Let's see what Devontae has. Let's just try to see if we can mix things up with some more interesting plays. I'm not really sure. I mean, I feel like this is kind of a repeated thing really since the Super Bowl. Is I feel like McVay has gotten kind of sometimes a little stale in some of his play callings. But it's also what Matthew Stafford sees. We don't know what plays that Sean McVay says in his headset to Stafford, and it's all about Stafford and the other players executing those plays. And so some of them could be designed really well, and it was just poorly executed, or defense was able to jump the gun and make a good play.
yeah, I mean, sometimes we forget the view Stafford is. He's basically our OC on the field, and he will make adjustments, and McVay kind of lets him have free reign to call the plays he sees fit or audible out and kill them. So I do feel like from that perspective, uh, it's a little bit more complicated than just like throwing a bunch of different new plays in, trick plays and stuff like that. Like watching the Miami game tonight, they had like a really good reverse like flick sweep motion, and like I would love to see some of that with like even Tutu or mixing in our new tight end Ferguson, like different stuff like that could help open up Puka in the future. And I think as Stock kind of mentioned here, slow down his workload a little bit. I don't have an issue with his workload right now, but it will eventually cause injury if we aren't careful and try to have a few games where we spread the ball out more. Because
Yeah,
it
I'm
felt
fine
like
with him.
third and Puka for most of that
Yeah,
game.
him getting 90 yards to 100 yards a game, I'm okay with. It's when if we keep getting into this plus 100 yards every game, that's not sustainable. And again, I think it goes back to it'll be more prone to injury. But he's young, he's tough. Dude can catch anything from any direction. Yeah, I have no concern in that. My concern is the red zone play.
Uh, yeah, let me go here. Falco, I do agree. Like a lot of our emotion stuff got stolen directly from the Miami, like that offseason in what 23, 24. We instantly became one of the highest percentage using motion plays in the league. And this year, I think we're something. I gotta look back on our tweets, but I think it's like 60% of our plays have motion, or we're definitely in the top 10 of the league for having motion in our plays. So McVay does like stealing stuff from Miami.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I
I
was a
don't.
negative.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say this is going to be a low scoring game. I honestly see that the defense are going to play big. I do think that the defense is going to get us. I will call that they will get us either a pick six or a fumble. They're going to score us points this game. That's probably my one prediction that I think that the defense has is that they're hungry for this. The 49er game is always a battle. This is probably the best option for the Rams to dominate in any 49ers game in recent history. If they can't capitalize on this, I think that there's going to have to be there's going to be some discussion afterwards about what's going on. But
yeah.
I think I don't like to predict scores or whatever, but I do think that I think the defense will score potentially, and I think this is the game that the offense has to be hot.
Yeah. Which would you prefer, seeing Mac Jones or Brock Purdy?
Probably Purdy.
You would prefer to see Purdy.
I don't think he's been accurate so far this year. I think
Do you think his injury is the issue? Because
I think
normally
he's trying to
like,
play
he's pretty
tough.
accurate.
He's usually pretty accurate, but I don't think just going back. I'm going to pull up the stats for last week's game, but I haven't been impressed as I usually am, and I'm actually pretty impressed with Purdy. If he wasn't a 49er, I'd probably think that he's a really good quality quarterback. I just can't stand the 49ers, so it's really hard to say. I mean, he put up 309 yards against the Jaguars, but he also cost them 2 interceptions. It just did not look good against a Jaguars team who's playing well. Just I'm not also impressed with.
So Stock says, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just disappointed when I see how much talent is on this team and we don't utilize half of our talent. Let's be real. We got lucky this week. Now, you can go back and watch our previous pod, and we kind of both addressed this, and I had my piece about how I viewed the Colts win. But when it comes down to it, you are right with we're not fully utilizing everyone, but there's also a point where the stuff they have been doing has been working to a certain level. Now, if it can work more or less with going with more diversification with who you're targeting, I mean, we won't know, but that's McVay and that's Stafford. Stafford loves to just target 1 or 2 players in specific drives.
Yeah, the offensive line needs to do a better job, give them more time, allow us to have more weapons downfield. We're using a lot of tight ends to help block. We're using a lot of wide receivers to help block, give Stafford more time in the pocket, those types of things. But my one thing to that is, if you go back and look, I agree with you. There are times where the game feels stale. And I think it's just comes out of how the defense schemes it up. Because you look at the Eagles game, we were marching down the field. I mean, again, we attempted 6 field goals out of that. That's, take 6 times 7, and that's the potential points that we left off the board because, we couldn't hit the red zone. So I think we can move the ball really well down the field. Penalties have killed us, or we can't get into into the end zone once we hit the red zone. So those are really our 2 focal points. We clean those 2 things up, it's lights out for any team. I mean, we will stand toe to toe with any team, and we have. Our one loss was to the Eagles, and again with the Colts game. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have times where a team is going to shoot themselves in the foot, and the Rams could certainly shoot themselves in the foot again this week on Thursday. Hopefully not, but it is what it is. We have to look to the football gods to tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, Falco, the O-line has been an issue, and that's been mostly injury related, like Dotson not being 100% and not having Avila. Not having those guys, I feel like if we can get them healthy and get this O-line gelled, pass protection has been a big issue. The Rams just haven't been able to take the time to take shots down the field. And you saw last week against Colts, when we finally had time to take a shot, it wasn't even that long of a passing concept, but had a little bit of time and we hit an 88-yarder. So definitely is going to be a main thing where if we can improve that, but you'll see the red zone percentage go up. You'll see the easiness of the running backs in the lanes get even better. Yeah.
You definitely don't like that Dedich was our highest PFF rated offensive lineman for this last game against the Colts. We need everyone to take a
I
step
don't
up
know
a
what
bit.
they were watching, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, you look at the bottom 5 offense. Dotson was rated at 62.5. Havenstein was 43.1. So
Havenstein
those
was
are the
better
bottom.
than both of those guys. I mean,
Not according to PFF.
I just disagree with that. Shelton had a solid game. I'll give him credit there. Shelton had a solid game, and then, Jackson's been probably the most consistent lineman of the year so far, Zach. And he didn't even go through the training camp program at all.
Yep.
This is a great question, Zach. Do you anticipate any big trades? Pick up a premium corner. I don't know if they want to give up first round picks for a premium corner. I could see this team wanting to give up third round picks, fourth round picks,
Yeah.
maybe a second, because that second would be pretty late. So you could see this team offer like 2 seconds and try to get a guy that way. Um, I was talking about Jack Jones of the Dolphins would be kind of like a mid-tier level player from Dolphins if they keep on losing a potential trade target. Not the biggest name, but I liked what he did on the Raiders, and I feel like he's played decent for Dolphins, not great, but definitely would add to our depth. Let me look at some of the rosters of the 0-3 teams, Zach, and you can comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do agree. I mean, I think if you're looking at it from a defensive side, I definitely think in someone like a more a veteran premier corner would be best, especially if you're making that big push into the playoffs. And obviously, the Rams tend to wait closer to the deadline before they really make any of the big splashy moves. Um, but
Yeah.
so I would say for the defensive side, I do agree. I think the corner is where we need to focus on the offensive side, I'm not really sure what you would do other than maybe trying to find another lineman. But that's not really typical during those trade
Yeah,
deadlines.
teams don't really trade guards or linemen in the middle of the season. Denzel Ward from the Browns, I would really like Denzel Ward. I feel like he's a good option right there. I don't think the Ravens are going to give anyone up. Broncos, if they lose tonight, potentially, but like you're not going to get Pat Surtain from them. Maybe you could get one of their other
I mean,
cornerbacks like Barron, but they just drafted him, so I don't see them giving him up. Yeah,
yeah,
it's hard to find. Uh, that's why the Ramsey trade was so rare, because it's very rare for like an elite corner to come on the market and a team be willing to trade him. So especially at that age.
yeah. I don't think the Rams really want to. They don't want to pull up any first round picks for a premier. They want to keep those for post post. Unless
Yeah,
unless for some reason it's something they desperately need this season, I think they're going to hold on to those.
I really don't feel like they're going to trade away Sauce. He's kind of like a cornerstone player, and we would have to trade first for him anyways. And I just feel like the whole front office, unless if they really if we go undefeated into the bye, maybe I could see this front office trading a first. If you're talking about only having one loss, being what 6-1, it's week 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, dead center. So if you're at 7-1, uh, potentially, but even then, I think they want to keep both first in case if they want to trade for a QB or trade up in the draft to get a QB.
What do you think about them just activating AJ Green from the practice squad? I mean, he's longer than he's longer wide. He's 6'2" compared to our tallest corner, which is Forbes at 6 foot. Um,
I
Anything?
mean, I would be it would be worth a shot to see what he has and see if he can play with the ones
Yeah,
potentially. I think there's been a reason he hasn't been activated so far, and I know Manuel Forbes gave up that big touchdown, but he was in good coverage. He just couldn't make the play on the ball. Adonai Mitchell had a good play. Like sometimes you have to give players credit. It wasn't a great rep by him, but he was still. It wasn't like wasn't anywhere in the picture. Kind of like on that 2-2 play where the linebacker fell over, or
sure.
I can't remember corner. It's not like he just fell over and guy was wide open, just ran in for 80 yards. It
Right.
was a little bit more complicated than that. He
I
had
just
decent coverage.
I just think that we need to get someone in there who's a little bigger body, a little bit more physical, and who's able to kind of go toe to toe match up with some of these bigger receivers. Um,
You're gonna trade for that person because we don't have them on roster.
Sure, but AJ Green, he's 6'2", not 199. Like he is bigger than what we currently have. Was my point.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not supposed to be. Like this is the thing. Like Akello was always supposed to be our CB1, so I've always viewed Forbes as like a decent CB2, a really good CB3, a project CB2 in the future of this defense.
A good
Where
rotational
maybe
piece too.
yeah, like a really good rotation. It's kind of like Michael Hoyt last year. Me and you were both saying great rotational player, really good to get snaps, and he can make plays every so often. But we do not want him as like edge number one. And same thing with Forbes right now. Like he could develop into that. I feel like he was way more raw coming out of the draft, and people just had to be patient with him because of his frame. He has to build up, and I feel like instinctually he has it. He's like, again, I'm the same guy who defended Darian Kendrick, and I still think Darian Kendrick would be the best corner on the Rams right now. And this fan base kind of drove him out way too quickly. And they're way overly critical of a guy who had to play CB1 snaps, who was never meant to be CB1. And most of that was because of injuries pushing him up the depth chart.
Yep. Well said. Well said. Witherspoon's not expected to come back until December. I think is the earliest that he's going to be back. So we have a long time without him.
Yeah, and it's not guaranteed he's 100% either when he starts playing.
Yeah,
You kind of just
early.
want to hope he's healthy by time playoffs start if we have made it to the playoffs by then. So, gonna face AJ Brown. Yeah, the Rams are gonna get someone, either sign someone who is still a free agent. There are a few older guys out there still, or trade for. They definitely will, especially if they have a winning record. Now, if it's going to be a flashy name or not, or like someone who's a top tier corner, I don't necessarily think so. But we'll see what they choose to do. And Falco, yes, Nate Landman has by far been maybe the third best defensive player so far this year. He
He's
has
been great.
lived up to the billing. Lived up
Yep.
to the billing. He has played by far, I would say, the second best so far, the second best linebacker season I've seen from a Rams linebacker outside of Bobby Wagner. Uh, and that's a great testament. I mean, he has played very well.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Talk about Ferguson a little bit. That was one of the comments that was in there. Um, yeah. So don't know what's going on with Ferguson. He's been that healthy scratch. He's been kind of just sitting behind the scenes. Was inactive for this game. Um, it's kind of a mystery of why he's not playing. Obviously, in the offseason, he had some injury, didn't get to participate in all the offseason activities. But we were really hyped on him. We thought he was going to be, Tyler Higbee 2.0, learn from the vet, ride behind him, be in his coattails, and I think even you thought he was going to start sooner than he did. I was assuming he would be, probably week 5 to week 7, kind of starting to get more reps than Higbee is. But over the last 2 weeks, he's kind of been MIA.
I mean, rookies in McVay systems, they just most of the time they take time to marinate. Like we didn't even see Tutu majority of his rookie year, and they drafted him in second round, and they were well on their way to Super Bowl. So I know it sucks for people to hear, but the coaching staff doesn't have faith in him. Tight end is playing two positions in one. It's going to take time. And that doesn't mean he's going to be a great player. Doesn't mean he'll be a bad player. Just means the coaching staff doesn't think he's ready.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the pass blocking or what, but like something has to be holding him back on why he's not on the field, or McVay would put him out there at least to give him a
It could
shot.
be
Since
injury.
it,
It
it
could be
could be,
lingering injury stuff. Like we
it,
just don't know.
it could be. You would think that they're supposed to put that on the injury report, but
Well, I
I won't
mean,
get you started.
if he's not getting activated, it kind of mute point anyways.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Talking a lot. I'm gonna put this one up here. We have an extra first rounder from the Falcons. Yeah, but I think that if the Rams don't have to use it, the Rams are playing really well, even with the corners that we're having. They're not really the reason why we're a losing game or why we lost against the Eagles. Realistically, uh, so I think that they want to hold on to those first rounders as much as possible. We don't know what the future is going to hold. Obviously, I agree. If you're going to if you want to win a Super Bowl, then you probably should use them. But when you're also looking at the future of your franchise and you don't know what Stafford is going to do at the end of this year, those 2 first-round picks are going to be probably more valuable than for the future of the franchise and the future of staying successful in this era of McVay than um, than would be to trade one of those away for a cornerback. And who knows
I'm
even which person we're going to get with that first rounder.
I mean, basically, it's one of those things where the Rams would trade their pick first before they traded uh, Atlanta's pick because our pick is going to be lower. I would say 9 times out of 10 this year with how we've been playing. Uh, I'm all for trading away picks and getting a stud corner. I just don't think this. Uh, I don't think they want to. They're very set on having a full draft class and trying to get a future QB. At least right now, things can change with record and how everything else goes, or injuries. So, do you want
Any
to?
other comments you want to bring up?
I'm good for now. We're almost about to hit our time.
Yeah, we do appreciate everyone who's coming in the comments. We're going to leave this to a preview episode of the 49ers game. I think that it's going to be a tough game no matter what of how you look at it. But I do think the Rams do pull this one out. I do think that they win probably by at least 2 scores. They at least should pull this off by at least 2 scores. And my prediction still, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, is I do think that there's going to be a defensive score one way or another.
I agree with you, Zach. Mostly, I think the Rams will win this game. I think they're up 2 scores most of the game, and then the division games get weird, and Niners cut it close, but the Rams close it out with like a 8 or 9 point win. So
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from a defensive side, when the Rams tend to go up, they play a little bit safer of a defense. They allow them to move the ball a little bit,
prevent,
to
yeah.
eat up. They allow them to eat up their own clock, and so again, I don't think they're trying to let explosive plays happen, or they're trying to let the 49ers, or any team, go down the field. But they do play, I think, a little bit more softer to not allow the explosive plays, keep everything contained in front of them, but still, let them get a yard or two or something like that to kind of chew
Mm-hmm.
up the clock a little bit. But again, if the defense can just keep keep their foot on the pedal, same thing with the offense. We fix up our red zone plays. We stop shooting ourselves in the foot with the silly penalties. I think this game is a successful one for the Rams.
Yep, looking forward to it.
We'll see how many 49ers fans show up who also are wearing LA Dodgers hats too, because still have to represent their LA roots too. It's a weird. Well, this is a Rams podcast. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm from, even though I'm a Rams fan, I'm from Cincinnati and I'm a Reds fan, and they're going up against the Dodgers. So love-hate relationship.
I don't watch baseball, so I can't comment.
Okay. Well, with that, we want to thank everyone who's joined us in live. Man, the chat has just been filled up today. Popping off. We got more people coming in each and every time, so we really appreciate everyone who watches us live, either that on X or on YouTube. You can always find us, youtube.com/@EastCoastRams. Please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're really trying to get 50 more users so that we can kind of hit 50 more subscribers so we can hit that next level. So really appreciate everyone who does follow along. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we go live or when we post shorts, or just any notification that we get. You can also find us on X. That's kind of our primary method of communication, at East Coast Rams. We're also on Instagram and Threads at East Coast Rams Pod, and then on Blue Sky as well. Just search for East Coast Rams. That is Ashton. I am Zach. Thursday Night Football. Big Wit's going to be back in the house to do his primetime special with his crew. So really looking forward to seeing that coverage. I will be flying over SoFi Stadium right before the half. So it'll be fun to kind of see what SoFi looks like from the sky during Thursday Night Football. Ashton, it was a pleasure as always.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing the team on prime time. And man, what a season so far, and it's only going to get more interesting. I have a feeling. Only more interesting.
Hey, this Rams team hasn't even showed us what they have fully stored up. So, as the famous Rams saying goes, we ain't done yet. And with that, whose house? Rams house.